Hi, I'm going to read you a story, and it's entitled Insect Detective. Author Steve Voke, illustrated by Charlotte Voke. Right now, all around you, thousands of insects are doing strange and wonderful things, but you can't always see them right away. Sometimes you have to know where to look. There are more insects living in the world than all the other animals put together. About 200 million insects for every single person. Listen, over by the fence, can you hear a scratching sound? A wasp is scraping away at the post with her strong jaws. She's collecting wood. She mixes it into a soft pulp in her mouth, and when she has enough, she'll help the other wasps build a nest out of paper. Wasps often collect different kinds of wood, which makes their nests look stripy, just like the insects who made them. Not all kinds of wasps live together, but many of them do. Insects that live together are called social insects. Ants always live together. They usually make their nest underground. Finding an ant's nest is easy. First, find an ant, then follow it. It might stop to chat with some other ants along the way. Ants can communicate by touching their antennae together. But after a while, the ant will head home, and you'll be able to find out where it lives. Like all insects, ants have three main parts: the head, a thorax, and an abdomen. Solitary bees live by themselves. Solitary means alone. This female solitary bee is busy collecting food from spring flowers. She'll store it in her tiny nest so that it will be ready for when her eggs hatch. All insects start life as eggs. Solitary bees make their nest in holes in the ground, cracks in walls, or in tiny cavities that have been left by other insects. Many animals like to eat insects for dinner, so some insects use camouflage to blend in with their surroundings. Look at this crinkly brown leaf. Can you see a crinkly brown herald moth too? They often rest in trees during the day so that birds won't see them. Insects have other ways of hiding too. See the squiggly lines on these leaves? They were made by a leaf miner caterpillar. The leaf miner protects itself by living between the top and bottom layers of leaves, a bit like hiding in a sandwich. Lift up a stone and you might see an earwig scuttle out. They like to hide in the damp and the dark. The pincers on the tips of their abdomens make them look kind of scary. But don't worry, they're completely harmless. Female earwigs are very good mothers. They work hard to keep their eggs clean, turning and washing them regularly. And when the young hatch, their mothers bring them food until they're old enough to look after themselves. Oh, and of course, you might find some creatures under there that aren't insects, like spiders, centipedes, slugs, and woodlice. And once I found a baby frog. It's easy to tell whether something is an insect or not. All you have to do is count the legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it has 6 legs, it's an insect. If it doesn't, it isn't. If you're lucky, you might even find a colored ground beetle gleaming in the sunlight. It's like discovering a precious jewel. But ground beetles aren't just pretty to look at. They're excellent hunters too. At night, they go out hunting for slugs and snails, which makes gardeners very happy. Perhaps the greatest insect hunter of all is the dragonfly. Even the name sounds fierce. But don't worry, they won't come chasing after you. Dragonflies are much more interested in catching things like flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. Some will even snatch a spider from its web. On summer days, when the air is still, you can see their wings sparkling in the light as they hunt, twisting, diving, and plucking flies from the air. Dragonflies are fabulous flyers. They have 2 sets of powerful wings which they can use to hover, change direction, and even to fly backwards. It's hard to believe they started life in the water. But dragonflies lay their eggs in ponds or slow-moving rivers where they hatch out into small dragonfly nymphs. A nymph sheds its skin many times until it's fully grown. Finally, it climbs out of the water and rests on the stem of a plant. As dawn breaks, its skin splits open and a beautiful dragonfly emerges, unfolding its wings and drying itself in the sun. Special changes that take place in insects' bodies are called metamorphosis. They happen in different ways as insects grow from eggs to adults. Sometimes when you think about these strange and wonderful things, moths hiding, ants talking, dragonflies changing, it's hard to believe that they could really be true. But you don't have to take my word for it. All you have to do is open the door and step outside. Thank you for listening to my story. This is Mrs. Toews from Collins Parr Elementary, San Diego, Texas.